Corbin and Casey are misogynistic pigs. Who said that? Me. And let's talk about why. Besides the obvious, yes, they're doing the Villa girls dirty. We know that. But there are two examples that I'm thinking of from last night's episode that led me to this conclusion. At least have it confirmed. I already knew that Corbin was, but this was a different level of misogyny. I'm going to give you a second to guess. Let's start with Casey's comment, shall we? Obviously, I took notes because I didn't want to paraphrase what he said too much so that people could try to come up with excuses. He said, and I quote, "The girls are giving in the villa what we should have been getting." What? What we should have been getting. Excuse me? Because, okay, now what I'm hearing is a sense of entitlement to women's bodies. Now I'm understanding why it was so easy for you to slander Anaya, calling her a grandma and making it so easy to dispose of her simply because she wouldn't put out. What I'm hearing is women are only valuable to you if you can sexualize them or utilize them sexually. Or if they're willing to give in to your desires and needs sexually. And if they don't deserve any ounce of respect. And Casey, respect is not just what you say to her face to make her feel better so you don't have to deal with repercussions. Respect is how you act when no one is looking. Especially the person you're referring to and trying to respect. So yeah, that pissed me off. And then obviously Corbin's comment, this was probably the episode before, but Corbin saying, oh, get to work, every single time a girl was throwing it back during that one challenge. When they first got introduced to Casa, when the women are witnessing what was happening behind closed doors. Because what do you mean get to work? What do you mean get to work? Exactly. That gave me the biggest ick. And Corbin in general has been giving me the ick, but him saying that, and I don't know if anyone clocked that, was just very repulsing to me. So yeah, both of these men are extremely misogynistic. They only value women because of what they offered them sexually. And I want them off of my screen just as much as I want Zach off of my screen. At this point, screw most of the men. I've been saying this, but at this point, I want just the Casa boys to be the main men. I'm sorry. I know a lot of you guys are shitting on the Casa boys. First of all, I think they're fine. I don't know what people are talking about. I think they are fine. And on top of that, they are so much more fun, so much more open-minded, and so much more respectful. So let's bring them back. Come on now. Let's bring all of them back. Next, I wanted to touch on Trinity's confessional and her breaking down, which had me crying. I'm not going to lie to you. Not just because of me witnessing the true connection she has with Bryce, but because of what she was talking about, because of what her insecurity was. And obviously we are both Black women, right? And we have both dated outside of our race, which is why it was very relatable to me. But I do acknowledge the privileges I hold compared to a darker skinned Black woman dating outside of her race. I just wanted to acknowledge that before we got into this part of the video. But the commonality that most, if not all, women of color have, and why we relate so hard to what Trinity said, was because when you date a man outside of your race, you're constantly wondering, am I the rule or am I the exception? Am I what's desired or am I the guinea pig? Am I just the experiment? Because you can fundamentally tell a difference when you date a, let's just say white man, for example, because that's when it's most common. When you're dating a white man who has never dated a woman of your race or a woman of color, period, versus a white man who prefers women of color, or in this case, Black women. I have dated both, and I could see such a stark difference. So for me, I have dated the same amount of white men as I have Black men. And one of the main differences I noticed between dating Black and white men is when I was dating white men, I was constantly wondering, like, am I just the exception? Am I their first Black girl or the first brown girl? Are they just gonna run back to what's familiar to them? And I was so insecure in high school because I went to predominantly white high school. I was one of very few people of color, especially Black people. And I remember I dated this white guy junior year. And he broke up with me, I remember it was the very end of the school period. And not even like a few hours later, he was seen canoodling with a white girl, who he then proceeded to date for several years. And I remember thinking, not, oh, he just moved on so fast. Like, of course I did think about that. But what really, really hurt me was, oh, he wanted a white woman. That's what he wanted this entire time. I was just an experiment. I was just a bucket list item. And it really did hit me harder than I thought it would. And then after the fact, when he tried to get back together with me years later, he fetishized the crap out of me, saying that that's what he wanted this entire time. He loves exotic women, da 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 da. It was gross. I mean, we're on good terms, but that was a really traumatic period. And then my first serious long-term relationship, which was in college, I dated him for 2 years, but I broke up with him. And he proceeded to immediately date a white woman after we broke up. And he ended up marrying a white woman, which again is totally fine. He was from a predominantly white area, but that same insecurity 17-year-old me had started to resurface again. I was just the guinea pig. And then I've also dated white men that preferred women of color, that preferred black women, that really honored and respected black women. And I never had that insecurity. But it was always in the back of my mind. Always. I think it just comes with being a woman of color or a black woman that has dated outside of her race. So when Trinity mentioned that, like, I felt that. It hit me so hard. Feeling like you're not enough, feeling like you're not the standard because society has convinced you to believe that you're not beautiful. That's real. That's a real thing. So we often date within our race because it feels very safe to us. We don't have to be the little brown girlfriend that's a placeholder until they find their white wife. Not to say this happens to everyone, because there's so many beautiful interracial marriages that work. It is an insecurity that women of color have to overcome when dating white men or dating men outside of their race. And trust me, it's not just with white men. You could replace white with honestly any other race. You could even say that about black men. Like, oh, is he only dating me until he finds his black wife? It is such a valid insecurity.